everybody, it's John, your Indian Cine-MANIAC, with another 10-ish minute review. Okay, we're on a roll. I want to keep this going, so I've gone back to the viewer wheel. I only have 3 films left, and I'm going to knock out one here, and the film is 2013's Ugly. Now, this was, oh, geez, I'm sorry to say I don't have the person who recommended this as I look at my list here. So whoever it is, I apologize, but I am going to read your recommendation for this. Okay, so here it goes. A dark thriller directed by the finest in Indian Hindi cinema, director of Gangs of Wassypur, with layered plot twists and turns. Drew may like this one. Yeah, I'm going to recommend this to Drew. It's not going to happen on the big show, but I'm going to tell him to watch this. And you undersold how dark this movie is. So a little background on this film. Okay, so it's Ugly 2013. It was directed by Anurag Kashyap, who directed Gangs of Wassypur. It stars Ronit Roy, who I saw in The Thugs of Hindostan, Rahul Bhat, who was in Gangs of Wassypur, Vinet Kumar Singh, and Tajaswini Kolhapure. I hope I said that right. Most of the cast I've never seen before. At least, I mean, you guys are going to tell me I have in another film, but I did not recognize them. They also tell you that this was inspired by true events, which if that's true, that's pretty disturbing. Because I have to tell you about this film. I found this film incredibly disturbing on a number of levels. And I'm not saying that as a critique, because I really like this film. I had my problems with it. I really liked this. It had me hooked. I did find it a tad bit confusing at certain points to follow the story. So let's talk about the story. So the story is about a divorced couple who's got a 10-year-old daughter, and she gets kidnapped at the beginning of the film. And the rest of the movie is trying to find who took her. But hence the title. Other than the 10-year-old girl, there is nobody who's good in this film. And everybody is trying to gain something from this girl being kidnapped, and finding her is almost secondary to the stuff that goes on. That's what I found. Like, I mean, the director even said, I want to quote him: "The purpose of this film is to disturb people. I want them affected, especially women." And this story does that, because each character is greedy, immoral. I mean, the one person you can say is a good character is the new husband of the girl's mother. He's a cop. But even he is horrible. He taps his wife's phones. He accuses the father of kidnapping the kid because when they were in college, he bullied him. So he's the only one that maybe, he's the one that ultimately wants to find the girl, but I'm not sure if it's because he cares about the girl because it's not his daughter, or it's a way to one up the ex-husband. So it's also okay. I'm sticking to the story. So this movie progresses where someone different gets accused, and then they clear somebody, and then the ransom money comes into play, where everybody's conniving to get the ransom money. The mother of the girl, the ransom's $5 million. So she needs the money. She asks her father for $6.5 million so she can pocket $1.5 million. The father's best friend tries to get $5 million in ransom. And then the father gets $5 million in ransom. And at the end of the film, He's happy he got the 5 million, even though he hasn't found his daughter yet. And he didn't seem too concerned. And everyone was hard up for money. So that's why they wanted this. But that was the thing. It definitely got a little confusing because they really left it open about who actually kidnapped this little girl. And that was something I wasn't too crazy about. And I'm going to get to the things. Okay, well, you know what? Since I'm here. Anyway, and here is a spoiler if you have not seen this film. Okay, so I'll give you a second because if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth seeing. Definitely. But there's a big twist at the end, and I want to give it away. So, okay, so I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So at the end of the film, the cop finds out that the little girl who was kidnapped, they find her in a parking lot in an alley, stuffed in a scooter, tied up with a tape over the mouth, dead. And what they imply, and again, it's not 100% clear, but there was a guy at the beginning of the film that they suspected, the girl's father and his best friend, and they chased him down, and he got hit by a truck and got killed. So that went nowhere. They did no investigation on that guy. They went right to the father. So if they did a little digging like they did at the end of the movie, they would have found the mother who would have led them to this little girl. So I had a problem with that. The other problem I had with the story was at one point, to get money, the father robs a jewelry store. And he's armed. And he just walks away from it. And no one arrests him. The mother shoots her current husband, who's a cop, in the shoulder. Nothing happens to her. She walks away. The best friend, who they suspect has been lying about this stuff, walks away scot-free. And then the other, and I know they have to do this for plots, but they've got all the phones tapped and they're under surveillance all the time. Except one time when it really mattered. The person who's doing the surveillance is talking to somebody else, and you see the computer screen with the headphones in the background while they're talking. So the one time they really need to hear something, they weren't paying attention. So, so that's my critique about the story. It was confusing. I'm not going to lie. I was a little confused by it. But it doesn't mean I was not bought into this story, because I was. I wanted to know who kidnapped her, and I want to know what happened to her. And on that, I'll give the story 3 Ledoux, even with the problems I had with it. The acting, I thought the acting was fantastic. I mean, these people were horrific. Okay, I mean, not a lot of sympathy do you have for any of these characters, including the father. I mean, there are things that happens. The mother at one point drugs the daughter so she can have an affair with the best friend. Everyone's corrupt. Oh, by the way, this whole storyline takes place in the span of a week. They kept showing you the days. So I like that. I like that too. But the intensity of these characters was really powerful, and playing such scumbags. Like the woman who played the wife, I mean, she was just an awful human being. At the beginning of the movie, she's going to kill herself with her kid in the apartment. So I thought she was great. I haven't seen someone portrayed like that in most of the movies I've seen. And there was also her friend who was sleeping around. She was part of the kidnapping plot too. Like, there's so many people that were involved with this. Like one guy, I think it was, again, this is where it gets confusing. I think there was one guy who was her brother, who was also the mother's brother, who was working with the girl, the friend, to get ransom money for the girl that was kidnapped, even though none of them kidnapped the girl. But now you don't know that till the very end. But I say I was really struck by the performances, and the guy who played the cop, who was a horrible character and treated his wife terribly because he found out she didn't really want to marry him. He didn't really want to marry her. He only did it because he was in college. Him and the ex-husband were like enemies. They picked on each other. So I think that's why, But I thought I thought at least he seemed to be the one towards the end that really wanted to find out what happened to the girl. And his reaction, the scene where they discover the girl and everyone's covering their mouth with a hanky because it's obviously the smell. And the way he played that, I thought was really, really well done. So I'm going to give all the performances a 4 because I thought they were really, really good. Even though the story I wasn't crazy about, or I had my problems with it, I thought the performances were all really good. The music. So let's talk about the music. The music fit this movie to a T. There was very little true background music. There was this thing, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was almost like it wasn't music. It was like this sound effect that was just like grating. And it really, because the cinematography in this film was very dark, because obviously this movie delves in dark subject matter, and the director and the cinematographer wanted the look of the film to mirror the people in the film, who were all really dark. So I get that. That didn't bother me. I thought it fit. But the music was just, it was there, and it was just grating in your brain with all this awful stuff going on. So, even though it's not, I don't want to say it's not music because that's not fair, but not typical music that you hear in these films. But I'm going to give that a 5 because I thought it fit this movie to a T. And it really did add to the disturbing nature of this film. So look, overall, I think I'd give this film I'm going to give it a 4. Even though the story, I had my issues with the story. The performances were great, and I really loved the music because I just thought it was so appropriate. So if you haven't seen this movie, my recommendation is, if you're depressed at all, don't watch this film because it is going to take you to some dark, dark places. But I appreciate and I feel terrible that I don't know who recommended this. But I really enjoyed that film. It was different. And I will also say, it's a Hindi film. It was a much more grounded film than I usually see in Hindi films. You see that in not Tamil, Telugu, and Malayalam. But this was like gritty, dark. So again, I'm going to give that 4 Ladus. So that's Ugly. Now the next film I'm going to watch, I was able to find Payasa on YouTube, a very good copy of it, a 1080p as a matter of fact. So I'm going to watch 1957's Payasa. Now I'm telling you ahead of time, I saw the trailer for it. I don't know if it's my cup of tea. I'm telling you up front, but I will say that the person who recommended it kind of actually talks about how big this film is and how much it meant to the Indian film industry. Amir Khan says it's his favorite film. Someone who I communicate with told me that this is like Guru Dutt is like Orson Welles, and what a big fan of Citizen Kane I am. So I am very interested on the filmmaking aspect of why this film is so elevated. So that's the next film I'm going to review. So please watch out for that review. And as always, please subscribe, hit the notification button, smash that like button, and share it if you think someone might like to see this review that's really, really ugly and dark and deep. Once again, I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate all the comments, and we'll keep this ball rolling. Keep the recommendations coming too, and we'll talk to you soon with another 10-ish minute review.